This is your 13 Colonies project. Some of you will be encountering this. This is for your U.S. History Foundations course. The first thing I want to talk about with this project is writing your thesis. The thesis is the whole main point of your essay. And so when I'm writing a thesis, the first thing I do is I ask myself, well, what is this essay asking me to do? In this case, you're asked to compare the 13 colonies, specifically each region. So we have the New England, the Middle, and the Southern colonies, and it's asking you to compare the three. So your thesis should say something about these three different regions of colonies. There's also a listing of the points where you can compare. The founding, the economics, immigration, religion, native interactions, geographic features, leaders, labor, education, representative government, and social classes. The really cool thing about this essay is there's actually a couple of different ways to write it. You can choose to write your body paragraphs about each type of colony. So your first body paragraph would be about the New England, and then the second would be the Middle, and the third would be the Southern colonies. Or you can pick three different points of comparison for your body paragraph. So paragraph 1 might be geographic features, paragraph 2 might be colonial leaders, and paragraph 3 might be education. So you do have some flexibility about how you choose to write your essay, which is kind of awesome. So something to keep in mind when you're writing your introduction is, especially with historical essays, I really like to start with background information. This can include basic information, the United States were technically discovered by Vikings in year X, and were further developed when John Smith arrived, blah, blah, blah. Just to give us a kind of background knowledge of where it is your essay is going. It doesn't have to be background information. It can be startling facts. You can talk about population numbers. Say that population in the United States started with Europeans. There were only 500 or what have you. So give some good background information. Then list your main points. Again, this can be a discussion of the types of colonies or the points of comparison. And then again, your thesis, a very solid thesis that gives us an idea of what it is your paper is going to be talking about. When writing a thesis or an introductory paragraph, please, 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 I am begging, do not say, in this essay I'm going to talk about, or today that you're going to read about, or I have written. It shows that you are not very experienced in writing essays, first of all, which is okay. But it also demonstrates that there's kind of a conundrum happening here, because I know you've written an essay. I'm reading your essay. And your essay is going to be about this topic, so I don't need you to tell me I've written about, because I can tell already, usually from your background information and main points. So please don't do it. When writing about your main points, again, it depends on if you want to break it down by colony or by topic. If you are going to write your main points by colony, start with New England and then the three topics you're choosing to analyze. If you're going to write by topic, start with the topic, one of the topics you chose, and then an analysis of the three zones. So I don't want to get too confusing. I'll give you an example here in a minute. Actually, let's do it now. Okay. So here's your body paragraph example. Always indent. Always indent your paragraph. The first line should always be indented. I cannot stress that enough. Okay. So if we are doing a colony approach, so I would say the New England colonies. So that would be geography here that I'm talking about. Their forestry, also maybe economics. Religious freedoms, that might be the Puritans or what have you. And other things. Okay. Now, if I was going to write a paragraph about the item, I might say, so again, my approaches are different. If I'm going to talk about the colonies, I'm going to say, the New England colonies were known for XYZ things that I've decided to talk about. Versus if I'm going to take the approach of my point analysis, I'm going to say, okay, so I've chosen to talk about economics. So I'm going to, in this paragraph, I'm going to talk about the economics of New England, the middle colonies, and the southern colonies. So that way I get this nice equitable spread of information. So when you're writing your body paragraph, always start with your topic sentence, which we did in the example. Include research. You will likely have to complete research in order to finish this assignment. That's good. You should include it. And then explain your research. Anytime you insert a fact, you need to explain it. I can't just tell you that someone was shot. I have to explain why that's important or significant. Since we're making comparisons here, you need to make a clear comparison about your colonies. That can be an easy last sentence in your paragraph, summing it up by saying clearly what was successful in New England wasn't successful in the southern colonies, or what have you. But you do need to make sure that you are making comparisons and explaining them in your essay, because this is a comparative essay. Finally, writing your conclusions. If you haven't yet made any final comparisons, now is the time to sum up your comparison. Restate your thesis, your main points, and tie it back into your intro. Again, you don't need to say the same things verbatim. It's really easy to rewrite your thesis and just rearrange the sentence, and that's what I recommend you do. And then final touches, finalizing it. Again, please indent. Reread your essay. It's really helpful to reread what you've written out loud. You are much more likely to catch any flaws or grammatical errors because it will read strange to you. If you have someone else in your home who is available to read your essay to you or read it themselves, that's a fantastic way to make your essay better. Also, include your sources. Okay, like I said, you will be utilizing sources, so include your list of sources at the end of your essay. I'm not asking you to use parenthetical citations, but I do ask that you cite your sources. Finally, please keep in mind that anytime you're doing an assignment, the point of an assignment is to prove that you know what you're talking about. So if you reread your essay and it doesn't sound intelligent, it doesn't sound like a thorough comparison, that means it's time to edit and reread and make some tweaks. Again, you're proving to me that you know the differences between these colonial regions, and you know why those differences are significant. These differences later on lead to the Civil War and still some regional tensions that happen today. So again, you're proving that you know what you're talking about. If your essay doesn't seem like it proves it, make it prove it. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in class.